Joshua reached out his arms frantically, desperately trying to hold on to his beautiful child and wife. But they were moving away into a sullen singularity. Their voices, clear as crystal, became clear. "Come home, love. Amari is waiting for his papa." His wife's calls and unborn child's cries reached their crescendo. The black sky all around him shattered into 1,000 pieces. He gazed like lamb to the slaughter into this familiar oblivion and closed his weary eyes while the dark walls collapsed on him. Joshua woke up, a disappointment harboring within him. He lived, again, to die every single moment. Third day or night, he didn't know anymore. No sign of saviors. He wondered about the extent of decay his body would host before being found and dragged like a rag doll and thrown in front of his pregnant wife. Or perhaps decompose over epochs to return to this very cave as the coal around him, becoming the carbon prison that traps him, completing the vicious cycle of mistakes that is life. Blood gushes as he gnaws on his chest wound, drenching him scarlet, for in his experience, pure agony distracts one from the concept of absolutes, of truth and lies, right and wrong, black and white. His life did not have black or white. Grey, a luxury he could not afford. There was only purple, only pain. It was the last day of his tenure when they decimated the cave and the coal mines sunk in, trapping him inside it. He had seen the fair men use the latest of the instruments of destruction. Dynamite, they called it. Few moments away from detonation, caught between a race war, Joshua realized how he was too weak to fight for his kind or for his child to be. But his instruments never wanted blood on them, but to only provide enough bread inside the hut before a warm fire and beside his love within a warm embrace. It was difficult to hold on to sanity in those dreary confines. He sits there, clad in his dried-up blood, trying to convince himself of the inescapable truth. Not that he would die, but that he would be aware of it, and it would not be forgiving. He feels that he would die the same way he lived, in pain. But amongst the million scars of flagellations, there's always a healing caress. Like the night they made love for the first time. That night, they grew wiser. They knew not to mourn anymore if they found themselves lost in the pursuit of happiness. They had found happiness in love and hope in each other. "Did it hurt when they whipped you?" Mommy asked, resting her head on his shoulders. "Like the coal I burn too, Mommy," he said, tucking her closer to his chest. "But my mantle remains black, and it shall stay that way." But now the illusion breaks. Truth prevails, and he finds himself broken. Bloody, he springs up on his feet, he clenches on his wound aggressively and lets out a beastly scream. He screams and screams, trying to numb one form of pain with another, yet no tears glaze his eyes. His parched throat, drenched with cold dust, spews bloody mucus. His desperate cry resonates throughout the blocked mind. His insides explode in chaos. But his lungs give up, shortly followed by his will. His minds drift in and out of consciousness. The end seems near. Joshua makes peace with his eventuality. He sleeps there with his knees dug near his chest. Cradled before death, he thinks of his child, merging with the innocent soul in hopes of feeling the warmth of Mommy's womb, so that at least in death he could feel protected. Joshua wakes up. The sky shines a nimble blue and a bright light steadily swipes across it. Confused, he lies there, trying to understand the rules of this new place. And then he saw her again, his beautiful Mame rising out of the oasis and walking towards him, her nude body glistening in the light, smiling her perfect smile. Joshua prays to whoever would listen. He prays for this to be real and not another torture. The nearer she comes, the godlike luminescence projects out of her, an enticing silhouette against a brilliant golden. She holds his hand and pecks his cheek. He could feel her touch. He could smell the scent of the scintillating cascade of hair, and almost without his assent, his eyes find a flooding release. He cries like he has never cried, his arms wrapped around her body, he plans to never let go. He now knew that this was not his punishment, not another hell. This was indeed his liberation, his freedom. Promise me you'll never go, he chokes. I'm here to take you home, you silly man, she raised, taking her hand as a mischievous smile adorns her. Where is our child? He asks. Amari is sleeping like an angel. Didn't cry when I left. Such a strong boy, she says. Takes after his father, of course. She faces the light towards what seems the horizon and tucks on his forearms, indicating to walk with her. Joshua, now happy and free, follows her.